who would become America's greatest phantom didn't look like a revolutionary or a madman. He looked like a mid-level executive heading home for a dull Thanksgiving. It was November 24, 1971, a cold, rainy Wednesday in Portland, Oregon. At the Northwest Orient Airlines counter, a man carrying a black briefcase used cash to buy a one-way ticket to Seattle. He signed his name as Dan Cooper. He was in his mid-40s, wearing a dark suit, a white shirt, a black clip-on tie, and a mother-of-pearl tie pin. He boarded Flight 305, took seat 18C, and ordered a bourbon and soda. He was calm, he was polite, and he was about to pull off the only unsolved skyjacking in the history of commercial aviation. Shortly after takeoff, Cooper handed a folded note to Florence Schaffner, a 23-year-old flight attendant. Accustomed to businessmen handing her their phone numbers, she dropped it unopened into her purse. Cooper leaned closer. "Miss," he whispered with a chilling calmness, "you better look at that note. I have a bomb." Florence opened the paper. In neat, all capital letters, it read, "I have a bomb in my briefcase. I will use it if necessary. I want you to sit beside me. You are being hijacked." The world shifted. The mundane flight turned into a high-altitude hostage crisis. Cooper opened his briefcase just enough for Florence to see 8 red cylinders attached to wires and a large battery. His demands were specific, calculated, and professional. $200,000 in negotiable American currency. 4 parachutes, 2 primary, 2 reserve. A fuel truck standing by in Seattle to refuel the plane. For the next few hours, the Boeing 727 circled the rainy skies of the Pacific Northwest. While the FBI and local police scrambled to gather the cash and parachutes on the ground, the passengers were told there was a minor mechanical difficulty. Cooper remained remarkably composed. He wore dark wraparound sunglasses. He chatted with the crew. He even offered to pay his drink tab. When the plane finally landed at Seattle-Tacoma Airport, he allowed all 36 passengers to walk free in exchange for the money and the chutes. He kept the cockpit crew and 1 flight attendant, Tina Mucklow, as hostages. He gave the pilots a very specific flight path: fly toward Mexico City. Stay below 10,000 feet. Keep the flaps at 15 degrees. And leave the landing gear down. At 7:40 p.m., the plane took off again into a brutal thunderstorm. Somewhere over the rugged, evergreen wilderness of southwest Washington, the cockpit warning light flashed. The aft air stairs, the stairs at the rear of the plane, had been lowered. "Do you need any help?" Tina Mucklow shouted through the cabin door. "No," Cooper yelled back. When the plane eventually landed in Reno, Nevada, for a scheduled refueling stop, the FBI swarmed the aircraft. They found Cooper's black tie, his tie clip, and 2 of the 4 parachutes. Dan Cooper was gone. He had jumped into a freezing midnight storm, wearing nothing but a business suit, clutching a bag of cash, and plummeting toward a dense forest he couldn't see. The investigation, NORJAK. The FBI launched, NORJAK, Northwest Hijacking, one of the most extensive and expensive manhunts in history. They searched the hills of Ariel, Washington, for weeks. They interviewed hundreds of suspects. They analyzed every fiber of the tie he left behind. But the forest was silent. No body was found. No parachute silk was spotted in the trees. It was as if Dan Cooper had evaporated at 10,000 feet. The 1980 miracle. The case went cold for 9 years until 1980, when an 8-year-old boy named Brian Ingram was vacationing with his family on the banks of the Columbia River. Shoveling through the sand to start a campfire, he uncovered 3 bundles of rotting cash, $20 bills totaling $5,800. The serial numbers matched the Cooper ransom money. The find sparked a frenzy. Did Cooper die in the river? Did he lose the money during the jump? If $5,800 was there, where was the other $194,200? The discovery raised more questions than it answered. The suspects and the mystery. Over the decades, dozens of men claimed to be Cooper on the deathbeds. Richard McCoy, a veteran who pulled a similar hijacking months later, but his physical appearance didn't quite match. Sheridan Peterson, a skilled skydiver with a murky past. Robert Rackstraw, a brilliant but troubled military veteran who mocked the FBI for years. Despite the theories, the FBI officially closed the case in 2016. They concluded that Cooper likely didn't survive the jump, the equipment was subpar, the weather was deadly, and the terrain was unforgiving. Yet, without a body, the legend persists. Why it still matters. The D.B. Cooper case transformed the way we travel. Before 1971, airport security was almost non-existent. After Cooper, the Cooper vane was installed on all Boeing 727s, a small mechanical latch that prevents the rear stairs from being opened during flight. But more than that, Cooper remains a folk hero. He didn't hurt anyone. He was polite. He took on the system, the government, and the laws of physics, and he won. Whether he is bones at the bottom of a ravine or an old man living quietly in a small town with a secret stash of cash, D.B. Cooper is the man who flew into the dark and never came back down.